If you have to chase him, he's already gone. That truth stings, doesn't it? Especially when you've given your heart, your time, your softness only to feel like you're always the one reaching, proving, performing. But here's a deeper question. Why do some women seem to effortlessly pull men in without saying much, without trying, while others feel invisible no matter how hard they try? This isn't about tricks or games. It's about energy. What if your presence, your feminine essence, isn't something to fabricate, but something you've simply forgotten how to live in? Carl Jung once said that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And yet, that is exactly where your power begins. This journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you how to be. Stick with this. You're about to learn the forgotten truth of feminine magnetism through the lens of Carl Jung and unlock a side of yourself he'll never forget. She was always doing the most. You've probably seen her, or maybe you've been her. The woman who's always polished, always available, always saying the right thing. Her hair perfect. Her schedule packed. Her heart quietly exhausted. She laughs at his jokes even when they don't land. She listens, she supports, she adapts. She's everything she was told would make her wife material. And yet, she keeps getting left on red. There's a cruel lie many of us were handed before we could even name it. That love must be earned. That if you're good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, agreeable enough, maybe you'll be chosen. Maybe you'll finally be seen. That belief carves itself into your nervous system like truth. So you work harder. You read all the relationship books. You mirror his emotions. You play cool when he pulls away. You silence your intuition just to keep the peace. And somewhere along the way, you stop being you. There's a woman I once worked with, I'll call her Lily. She had the resume, the looks, the charm, but every relationship she entered left her more invisible. She was constantly shape-shifting. One guy loved a strong career woman, so she leaned hard into her job. Another wanted someone more soft, so she hid her ambition. When I asked her what she actually wanted, she paused for a long time and whispered, "I don't even know anymore." This is the cost of chasing worth through someone else's eyes. The world tells women to perform. From a young age, you're rewarded for achieving, producing, and doing traits that mirror masculine energy. You're told to lean in, hustle, stay sharp, never show too much emotion. Be competent, not complicated. Be pleasant, not powerful. But here's the paradox. The more you try to earn love through doing, the more you disconnect from the very essence that makes you magnetic, your feminine presence. Carl Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Let that sink in, not who they want you to be, not who society praises, not who he thinks he needs, who you truly are. The first truth on this path is this: you do not have to do anything to deserve love. You do not have to earn desire. Your presence, when it's real, when it's rooted in who you are, is already enough. This isn't about becoming passive or giving up. This is about shifting from performance into presence. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you felt magnetic without effort? Not because you wore the perfect outfit or said the perfect line, but because you were fully in yourself. Unfiltered, unbothered, whole. That's not fantasy. That's what happens when you stop chasing approval and start remembering your power. So ask yourself, gently, where have you been performing in order to feel lovable? And what part of you is still waiting to be chosen by you? This is not a call to do more, it's a call to come home. Men are not addicted to perfection, they're addicted to presence. That might feel hard to believe, especially when you've spent so long polishing your edges, dimming your reactions, holding your breath just to stay attractive enough. But perfection is predictable. It's cold. It's exhausting. What truly pulls someone in is presence, not performance, not polish. And presence isn't about being calm or sweet all the time. It's about wholeness. It's about being real. Carl Jung called it the shadow. The parts of yourself you were told to suppress. Your sadness, your jealousy, your rage, your wild joy, your sensuality, your softness, all of it. The shadow is not evil. It's not broken. It's simply the energy that has been locked away because someone once told you it was too much or not ladylike or unattractive. But here's the catch. What you reject doesn't disappear. It just waits in the dark. And the longer it stays buried, the more it runs the show from underneath your carefully curated self. Think about it this way. She looks calm, graceful, like a still lake on a quiet morning. But underneath that stillness, there's a deep ocean, stormy, sacred, alive. There's nothing wrong with that depth. The danger is pretending it doesn't exist. I remember a woman, let's call her Raina, who came to me after a breakup she couldn't make sense of. "I did everything right," she said. "I never got angry. I always supported his dreams. I made space for his emotions." But in doing all of that, she had locked her own feelings in a box. Her laughter started sounding forced. Her passion faded. Her voice got smaller. She was present in body, but not in soul. One day, she cracked. She cried in front of him, not pretty, not filtered. Just raw pain and frustration. She braced for him to leave, but he didn't. He looked at her like he'd finally seen her, because that was the first time she showed up fully. Over the next few months, she did something radical. She stopped managing her image. She stopped apologizing for feeling deeply. She allowed herself to want, not just romantically, but creatively, sexually, spiritually. She started to own her softness and her power, her sweetness and her fire. And what happened? She became magnetic. Not because she was trying, but because she was finally whole. So here's the second truth on this journey. Your power isn't in what you present. It's in what you no longer feel the need to hide. There's something beautiful, almost dangerous in a woman who knows her shadows and walks with them anyway. She doesn't scare people away. She calls in those who are ready for real intimacy. You don't have to unleash everything at once, but you do have to stop pretending it's not there. Start by asking yourself, gently, what parts of me have I been told were too much? What do I still feel like I have to hide in order to be loved? You might want to journal about those parts. Not to fix them, but to welcome them home. Because when you stop fearing your own depth, you stop fearing whether someone else can handle it. She walks into the room. No one can explain why, but heads turn. She's not the loudest. She's not wearing the most revealing dress. She's not trying to command attention. And yet, somehow, she owns the space without lifting a finger. That's not charm. That's not strategy. That's energy. What you're witnessing in women like that isn't about beauty or perfection. It's about embodiment, the silent force of the feminine archetype. The divine feminine is not about gender. It's an energy, and it lives in all of us. It's the part that receives instead of chases, that creates instead of controls. It is the force that feels, intuits, nurtures, seduces, and allows life to flow messy, raw, and wildly alive. It's not about being passive. It's not about shrinking. Divine feminine energy is rooted and magnetic, still and unshakable. It speaks without speaking. Carl Jung said, "The feminine is the portal through which the unconscious becomes visible." That means this. Your feminine energy is what reveals the unseen, the emotional, the symbolic, the mysterious. It's what draws people in, not with facts, but with feeling. You are not the moth, you're the flame. And it's time to stop flapping your wings just to be noticed. Masculine energy is linear, logical, focused. It seeks to do. Feminine energy is cyclical, intuitive, present. It seeks to be. And whether they're aware of it or not, men crave the experience of the feminine. Not to conquer it, but to be softened, seen, and awakened by it. Think about it. When a man is with a woman who is deeply in her feminine, something shifts. His walls drop. His breath slows. His mind quiets. He doesn't know why, but he feels more at home. That's not magic. That's your essence. The feminine doesn't pull attention by demanding it. She doesn't have to. Her stillness invites. Her joy infects. Her mystery compels. But to embody this energy, you have to let go of trying to be digestible. You have to stop performing and start allowing. Let yourself feel, speak slower, take up space, change your mind, make eye contact without rushing to fill the silence. None of this is about manipulating anyone. It's about becoming so deeply attuned to yourself that others can't help but feel that pull. And that leads to the third truth. A man is not drawn to what you do. He is drawn to who you allow yourself to be. That kind of magnetism doesn't live in the external. It's not in your clothes, your voice, or the way you flirt. It lives in your comfort with your own depth, the parts of you that don't need validation to exist. There is something irresistible about a woman who is no longer trying to prove her worth because she already knows it. She's not chasing connection. She is connection. So pause for a second. Have you ever been magnetic? Simply because you were deeply yourself. That moment where you weren't performing, where you weren't adjusting, where you were just present, eyes open, heart steady, completely in your own body. That's not a trick. That's truth. And it's already inside you. The question is, will you stop hiding it? There was once a girl who wore a mask so perfectly, no one ever questioned it. It smiled when she didn't feel like smiling. It nodded when she wanted to scream. It was polished, pretty, polite. But over time, that mask grew tighter. She couldn't breathe through it. Her laughter felt distant. Her own voice sounded foreign. She started to forget what her real face even looked like. Until one day, she caught a glimpse of herself without the mask, and instead of feeling shame, she felt relief. For the first time in years, she exhaled. That's what individuation feels like. Carl Jung described individuation as the process of becoming truly yourself, not the version of you shaped by roles, expectations, or social performance, but the you that exists beneath all of it. It's not about becoming something more. It's about stripping away everything you were told to be, so you can return to who you already are. And yes, it takes courage. Because to individuate means you stop performing for approval. You stop seeking validation through being agreeable, successful, sexy, or self-sacrificing. You let go of the fear that if you change, they might leave. You no longer live to impress. You live to express. The freedom that follows is not subtle. It's not soft. It's like stepping out of a tight dress you didn't know you were wearing, like finally hearing your own thoughts without the static of needing to be liked. There's a quiet power in not needing to explain yourself, in knowing who you are without having to be chosen to feel real. And here lies the fourth truth. You can't make him addicted to your presence until you've stopped being addicted to his validation. If his attention is still the drug you crave, you'll always be chasing. You'll be adjusting your tone, second-guessing your truth, calculating how much emotion is too much. But the moment you root into who you are, not what you think, he wants, everything shifts. You become undeniable, not because you're louder, but because you're real. And nothing is more magnetic than a woman who doesn't need to be anyone else. Men feel that. They feel when your energy is clean, when you're not auditioning for affection, when you're not afraid to take up space. That kind of presence is rare, because most people are still playing roles. But a woman who's individuated, who's not afraid of her own mind, her own needs, her own depth, she doesn't try to keep someone. She becomes the kind of presence someone never wants to leave. Not because she's perfect, not because she's performing, but because she's complete. So take a breath. Take a moment. Who are you when no one is watching? Not the curated version, not the social one, not the partner, the achiever, the fixer, the peacemaker. Who is the you that doesn't need to be anything more, because she's the one who holds the power you've been searching for? He doesn't want another version of the world's expectations. He craves what only you can bring, not the image of perfection, not the hyper-productive, self-sacrificing, always available version of you. That version is exhausted, predictable, replaceable. What he's truly drawn to, whether he realizes it or not, is something far rarer. A kind of presence he can't explain. One that slows him down, settles his nervous system, and reminds him of something sacred he didn't even know he missed. And that presence doesn't come from effort. It comes from awakening the feminine, not as a tactic, but as an energy that you allow to move through you. The feminine isn't a costume. It's not soft lighting and slow blinking. It's a frequency, a way of being that says, I am here, I feel, I exist, and I'm not afraid of either of us. When you stop trying to control how you're received, and you start focusing on how you feel, that's when everything changes, because your presence becomes real. It's no longer filtered through performance or people-pleasing. It's alive, magnetic. The fifth truth is this. A man can't walk away from a woman in whose presence he feels safe to fall. And that safe doesn't mean predictable. It doesn't mean surface-level sweetness or constant approval. It means he can rest. His guard can lower. his mind can breathe. Because your energy doesn't demand, doesn't fix, doesn't chase, it receives. You become the place he stops running. You are not the hunter. You are the garden that makes him forget the chase. That's exactly what happened with Maris, a woman I once knew who had spent most of her life in high control mode. She had built a wall of strength around her vulnerability. Every relationship she entered felt like a job interview: questions, testing, subtle pressure. She was trying to screen the men she dated, but really, she was just terrified of being seen. Then something cracked. After yet another connection fizzled out, she stopped everything. No more strategy. No more pretending not to care. She let herself feel again. She cried more. She laughed harder. She danced alone in her apartment without worrying how she looked. She stopped performing confidence and started living in her body. When she met someone new, she didn't come in with a checklist. She showed up with presence. Not for him, but for her. And instead of chasing or controlling, she just allowed. She let the moment be what it was. She expressed what she felt without fear. She didn't need him to approve because she already did. That was what made him stay. Not the outfit, not the clever lines, not the self-editing. It was her softness, her wholeness, her realness. So I want to ask you something. Not as a trick, not as a hook, but as a whisper back to your soul. What if your softness is your superpower? Not weakness, not fragility, but your ability to feel deeply, to hold space, to surrender control, to trust your inner rhythm over external noise. This world trains women to armor up, to protect, to push, to pursue. But your true feminine energy doesn't need to fight for attention. It invites it, simply by existing. When you let go of who you think you need to be, you return to who you've always been. And that version of you, she's unforgettable. You were never meant to learn how to attract him. You were meant to remember who you are. Everything you've been chasing, validation, closeness, belonging, it was never outside of you. The more you return to your truth, your softness, your grounded presence, the more life begins to meet you where you are, not where you pretend to be. Your feminine presence isn't something you manufacture. It's something you uncover once you stop hiding. And if the world ever made you feel too emotional, too sensitive, too different, let this be your reminder. This world told you to hide. Your presence is the rebellion. So don't go back to shrinking. Don't dilute your light just to fit in. Be magnetic by being fully you. Share this with a woman who needs to hear the truth about her power. Drop a comment. What part of you are you reclaiming today? And subscribe if you're ready to grow, not shrink. You are the flame, always have been.